Hello everybody, we are here with your Skadi ADC guide. So we're going to be running the traditional hunter build. You know exactly what it is because it's been the only build that you've been building on hunters now for quite a while. It has not changed. Wind Demon recently got kind of nerfed, but it has not changed your build. You still build the Wind Demon. All they did was they nerfed those passive effects. I do believe it was 5% attack speed and 10% movement speed off of the passive when you get a crit, but that really has not affected the hunter builds at all yet. Also as well, for Skadi, she is not super meta right now. I'd put her towards the bottom tier for hunters. She usually likes a little bit more of the like power-y, cooldown-y, almost like transcendency, fail naughty metas, kind of like Neath and Woojer. And right now we're in a very auto attack, crit heavy hunter meta. So that's why she is not liking the meta quite as much. Also, she does not have a getaway skill traditionally, in the way that other hunters do. And a lot of being a hunter right now is also just having a good getaway skill, so that way you don't die in the lane, so you can keep farming for that mid game, which is why you have Anher, Chernobog, and Heim as the top 3 hunters. All have very decent escape capabilities. So I'm gonna dive right into Anher right now because he's gonna give me a nice little bit of leeway room, and if he's gonna turn around and fight, then I'm gonna take the fight right onto him here because I got the early level 2 from the clear on the creeps. They did not get the early level 2, and so we're gonna be able to go in right away and grab ourselves a first blood. So for our abilities, we are gonna be grabbing our 1 at level 1. This is our main form of wave clear, and then I'm gonna grab my 3 here at level 2. Keep in mind, you do not need any points into Kaldir to start using him. You can use him regardless at level 1. When you start putting points into him, you will start to get bonus effects. Putting 1 point into Kaldir is nice because it gives you this dash effect. So level 3, I'm gonna grab a point into Kaldir because I do want this dash effect. It just helps Kaldir kind of catch up to the competition and get in the range of his attacks.
Trying to sneak up.
Otherwise, though, on Skadi, we are going to be leveling up our ultimate to max first. That's because it's got to rank up the root duration on the ulti. It's really less about the overall damage and more about the root duration. The longer they're CC'd, the easier it is for us to sit there and auto crit them. Then we're going to max out our 1. Our 1, of course, being our form of lane clear. And it's also going to increase the slow percent. Once again, nice resonating our autos. And then you do have a choice between maxing out your 2 or your 3 third. I personally like maxing out the 3 because it makes the area bigger, easier to hit, bonus movement speed. So yeah, I at least have a shot at getting away. And then I typically rank up Kaldir last right now. In more power heavy metas and builds, you can actually level up Kaldir earlier in the game because he gets a lot of value from this percent basic attack of Skadi. But when you're going the crit builds really don't scale well with Kaldir, which is why we rank him up last. In the past, in builds that included a lot of Transcendence, Fail Not, those types of power builds, you would actually see Kaldir leveled up earlier because you could get a lot of value out of those big power builds with the Kaldir percent damage and stuff. But right now, with the crit builds, you go 4, 1, 3, 2, typically leveling him last.
He just wants to play.
Gonna give this purple buff to my support. Remember, in the duo lane, people always forget this. The purple buff does 2 things. The purple buff increases your attack speed by 10%, but it also reduces nearby enemy protections by 10. You want to make sure that if you invade the purple buff and get your own, that you give a purple to your support because that aura stacks. So instead of being a 10 flat pen aura, it becomes a 20 flat pen aura. Always spread that purple buff out to both of you if you can, because you get to double down
Nice.
on the aura pen effect. So don't just be grabbing it being like, I'm the ADC, I want to refresh my purple buff. Give it to your support and you're going to get the extra pen from that, and it's going to make your life a whole lot easier.
Your right tower is under attack.
So Skadi's kit is pretty straightforward. There's nothing that crazy. Basically, she's got her Calder as a pet. He gets a little bit of your power. He gets a little bit of the value from your build. And for the most part, you're just using Calder as a body blocker for auto attack. So like, I'm gonna try to get Calder down right here on the Anher, so he starts body blocking some autos. I do have the Athena and the Anher diving me, and I'm barely gonna get away from that one. You can kind of see already why Skadi is not meta. If I'm a Heim there, I easily walk into my 3 and I get away. I'm an Anher, I just jump. Trinobog, I dash, double dash, I can ulti away, etc. Skadi, best case scenario, I root both of them, I beads and try to run away, but now all of that's on cooldown for so long, and I miss an entire wave. Not having getaway skills in the dual lane is super detrimental right now. So I'm gonna try to clear this wave, and then we're gonna go ahead and put out a couple of wards. For the wards right now in duo, this ward right here, really strong. It's going to give you vision of all those 4 segments, and the same ward up top is also very strong. Right over by those viney boys, you get a lot of vision value from those. Keep in mind, you can still get ganked from up by the purple and down by your own purple, but the majority of ganking that's going to come for you is going to be through that middle section. And so those are the 2 places that I tend to ward the most. If you wanted to go ultra offensive with your wards, you would put one right there and then one up by the purple. And if you wanted to go ultra defensive, you would put one right there and then one down by your purple. Just depends on the exact segment of the game, but those 2 spots do provide the most value. So I've got Anher on me right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw down my ulti, because now I've got Calder just sitting there body blocking all those autos, and as long as I land my own autos, I'll be able to turn around this fight. So the one really nice thing about Skadi is that it can be hard to 1v1 her, because Calder will just simply sit there and body block auto attacks for you. So the way to get the most value out of Calder is going to be to use him for his block stacks right up front, and then right when he's about to die, use your ultimate, because it refreshes Calder's health. So preferably, you'd want him have them out there tanking, and then right before he dies, you click your ulti, gives him all of his HP back, and he can continue to body block whatever is coming your way. In that particular fight, I immediately had to ulti because I was CC'd and I was about to get pounded by an Anher ult, and I needed a little bit of a deterrent to make him a little bit scared. So we're going to be grabbing, of course, our Ninja Tabi as always, and going to be going into that 3rd item, Wind Demon. Even though it's been changed, even though it's been slightly nerfed, still going to be getting it 3rd.
Your left tower is under attack.
Over the Executioner. I'm a big fan of Wind Demon 3rd, Executioner 4th.
Right tower is under attack.
I find that the percent pen is not really relevant by the time you can finish the Executioner 3rd. But if you get one random crit on an enemy hunter, that's the difference between winning and losing the fight. So right here, I am gonna probably die with Anubis, but you can see the exact idea with the Calder right there. Anher jumps in, I throw Calder on him, he hits him a couple of times when he gets low HP. I throw the ulti, it refreshes it. Anher basically didn't get any damage on me in that fight because he was too busy hitting Calder the entire time. But the Anubis jungle rotation, that'll get you every time. Double up on my wards again, and we'll just keep throwing out the wards and keep running down the lane. If you're going to be playing a hunter with no escape, whether it's Artemis or Skadi or whatever right now, you have to understand that the early game is going to be a nightmare for you. You're probably not gonna have a very aesthetically pleasing KDA, and you just have to be ready for that. If you get rotated on, you're gonna die every time. That's the nature of the duo lane being so long and not having a getaway skill right now, which is why you don't see them play at a high level.
Your right tower is under attack.
So for the most part, you just need to focus on getting your farm. That's gonna be your utmost priority. If you're gonna die, try to get the wave before you die. You're trying to minimize any XP deficits that you could fall behind, and then just get yourself into the late game team fights where these hunters start to do a lot better. So I'm kind of waiting for the anther to jump. His jump might have actually still been on cooldown, and if he would have jumped, then I would have used my ulti to yeet Calder right at him wherever he landed, and then Calder should have been able to finish that kill. Another quick note, reminder that if Calder is dead, you do actually gain bonus damage. So while Calder is alive, he does all of his Calder things, but when he dies, you actually gain some stats. So if you look down the bottom left-hand corner, you're gonna see my basic attack, 177 right now. When Calder was dead, down to 161 now that he's got a piece of HP back. So don't feel bad about throwing Calder out there into the world and letting him die, because he's gonna be out there doing damage, and then eventually, when he dies, he is also going to be giving you a lot of value. So right here, I'm definitely dead no matter what, so I'm just gonna try to get as much pressure on this Athena and anther as possible. And I'm just gonna dodge so many autos. I'm actually gonna be able to kill the anther as well right there. They came over for the gank. I'd already gotten the tower. So right there, I'm just trying to, you know, duke it out, get as much value as I can out of the play. And I do end up getting the anther again. And now I can back up. I can grab myself an Aegis and continue to work on the Windy. So another big change recently to the benefit of all hunters is the shell block stacks have been removed. So shell no longer gives block stacks. It gives a minus 50% auto attack damage for the duration of the shell. So you do less damage against people with that upgraded shell on them, but you don't do so much less damage compared to a block stack. Big overall buff for hunters, and particularly for crit builds. In fact, the shell nerf is a much bigger buff for hunter crit builds than the Wind Demon nerf was to hunter crit builds. So hunter crit builds are actually even stronger this patch than they were beforehand. There's a really strong chance they end up getting nerfed in the bonus balance. So now that I'm playing more farther forward, I'm going to get out a deep ward up here and a deep ward up by that scorpion. So now you can see I've got this entire area warded. Going to throw down my 3, which I have been leveling up. So I'm going to get that bonus movement speed out from it. I presume that the Gooby is going to go ahead and blink in towards me, but there's just nothing that I can do about this. So you can see if the enemy team is going to rotate on you like that, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do. I have the vision out. I see them quite far away. I throw down my only form of movement, which is my 3, but between blinks and CC, there's no way that you're going to get away from a 3-man rotation as a hunter without an escape skill. You can have all the preparation you want, but if the team wants you dead, you're going to be dead. So what do we like to pair with our aggressive no movement speed hunters? With our aggressive no getaway skill hunters, we want somebody that is going to keep us alive. A Capri is a perfect pairing because you want somebody that is going to embrace the late game, because chances are you're not going to win the early to mid game anyway. So you might as well be prepping for the late game, where you are gonna be doing way more damage and bring way more value to your team. So you want to pair it with something like a Capri, with something like a Geb, where you're basically just saying, hey, we are going to lose the early game. There's nothing we could do about it. But if we make it to the late game, I'm going to have Calder running around being a menace. I'm gonna have a big old Tusky bust. And that's how we're gonna get our value this game. Looks like Andrew's gonna try to jump over this wall. Gonna throw down a little 3 for that bonus movement speed. Gonna eat my Calder right at Andrew, and I should be able to chase him down. So you can see in these 1v1 fights, it was really not that bad. It's when the people start to rotate that you get in a lot of trouble like this. I'm also starting to get into the later stages of the game. I've got my farm going pretty hard, and I've got myself a nice little level lead. As far as gods that you don't want to go against on Skadi, anybody that can attack through Calder is what is going to be worrisome for you. So the big benefit of Skadi, of course, is that Calder body blocks his autos. Anybody that can easily get through those autos is going to be a big issue for you. So Anher typically is a problem because Impale and ulti go right through. Rama, because all of his auto attacks in the late game, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna body block his autos. And he's like, haha, astral arrow crits. Anybody like that tends to be problematic. Skadi can actually do pretty well into Heim, because Heim has slower base autos, which means you get more value out of those Skadi Calder block stacks, because those block stacks don't actually care. They don't actually care about the amount of damage, right, that the auto does. They only care about how many. So something like the Heim autos with their slow nature can actually get even more ruined by the Calder compared to like a Izanami, who's a total nightmare because for all intents and purposes, you don't even have Calder against her. So that is not a guy that you'd want to go against. We've got our Executioner online, and of course, we're going to be wrapping that up with a Deathbringer for those bigger, larger crits. Now that I've got the tier 1 and the tier 2 tower down over in the dual lane, I am going to start looking for opportunities to roam around. This is where I can start to provide some value to my team. We've gotten into the later stages of the game. I am going to put out the aggressive wards one more time, just so I can continue to make sure that I am getting farm. Looks like Gooby was also heading this way, but I think he saw me put down that ward, and he has thought better of it, which is good for me, because I don't have any beads up. And if he hits me with that stun, I'm in a lot of trouble, so I'm going to go ahead and back it right on up. For hunters, as far as the late game, some people like to finish the ornate arrow first and get the extra cash going, because it goes to 20% bonus cash from all sources. That includes things like towers dying.
Holy shit, you're on fire!
And some people like to go get the Deathbringer first, because they just want the bonus damage from the crits. And because you're still going to be buying items, you get less value out of the ornate arrow until your build is completely finished. Unfortunately, right there, Kepri goes to ulti me, and he accidentally ultis on the wrong target. And he ultis our Persephone. Right idea right there. They go to commit with a Persephone, with a Gooby, all of that stuff onto me. And Kepri goes for the ulti to keep me alive, but just puts it on the wrong target. I do prefer typically getting the Deathbringer before finishing the ornate arrow, just because I find that oftentimes I will actually have more gold than I necessarily do XP, and sometimes I can even finish up that Deathbringer before I'm even gonna be able to buy the ornate arrow at level 20. So as a general rule, I like to finish the Deathbringer before the ornate arrow. Now luckily for us, the fire giant isn't actually up, so I can just go back over to left side and continue farming, because I don't have to worry about them actually doing the fire giant. Now, for the late stages of the game in these team fights, I am going to need to stand really far back. I've obviously been the target priority, as you will be when you're a hunter with no escapes. So my goal is going to be real far behind my team. And hopefully, if they want to come kill me, they've got to dive past the point that is safe. So there's a good chance that the people that I'm going to be prioritizing as my targets are going to end up being like the Athena and the Wukong as they're diving into me. So Ander is actually coming into me as well right here. Need to make sure that my impale is not going to be against a wall. Not getting a whole lot of crits right now, but that's okay. We're going to be able to get enough damage off to live right there. They put a decent bit into me, but the Persephone missed her ultimate, which is really going to let me kind of get away with being slightly out of position right there. And now we can move ourselves towards the fire. Now this fire giant, we have to be careful because Gooby is going to be way better at securing than anybody on our team. Gooby 3 ult could very easily take this. So we need somebody zoning. Looks like our Herc is going to be zoning. We need to turn around and kill this Gooby as fast as possible. And he is going to walk right on in and steal that fire giant. Just like we talked about how he would. So Hercules went to zone right there. On the Anubis, but the Anubis actually blinked around him, and that's why he gets away with that play right there. So he didn't put him in combat in time. That lets the Goobus blink right over him, and then he comes in for the very easy steal because we have nobody that's gonna do generally more damage than the Gooby is gonna do on that fire giant. So what we needed right there was the Hercules to actually get the Gooby in combat, find him a little bit sooner, and make sure that he doesn't get blinked around. That is how you fix that fire giant fight in that situation. Just needed a better play from the old Hercules. So now they're going to be running down. They're only going to have 2-3 of us on defense right here. There's a good chance that they probably get this fire if they have the confidence to go for it, especially with me and Persephone dead as our top damage dealers, but they're not going to go for it, which is actually quite convenient for us. Now it's all about getting that ornate arrow online, so we're going right back to farming. For our standard combinations on Skadi, mostly just utilizing our auto attacks in the late game because we are a hunter. In general, you're going to want to save your permafrost as a little bit more of a defensive ability. Throw it down on your feet. When you got the Wukong and the Athena, everybody trying to dive you, get that bonus movement speed, have them slide away from you. Earlier on in the game, you can use it more aggressively. Later on in the game, you're going to use it a lot more defensively, a lot closer to you. And you're going to be using your 1 as your general setup for your auto attacks so you don't miss them. Reminder, you can throw your 3, your ultimate, and your 1 over walls and through walls. So if I see somebody on the other side of a wall, I can just 1 right on through it and get them set up for my auto attacks. Now at this point, we just need to be playing it back. We need to be chillaxing and kind of just waiting for them to shove. They've got the fire giant, so the power play is onto them, and we are just trying to get as much farm as we can without moving up into a position that is going to be too far forward. As a general rule, wanting to stay behind that tier 2 tower range. I've got a bonus ward as well for if they come and try to counter ward any of our wards here in the jungle. They're gonna go shove the right T2, that is fine. So now it's time for us to go ahead and chillax.
Your right tower has been destroyed.
Sitting back by the Phoenix, my goal is going to be to standing by, waiting for them to initiate further. I can't afford to move too far forward, especially with that Athena. If she dashes in and taunts me, that is a danger, Will Robinson.
Your middle Phoenix.
But I do need to be in range of the fight. So you can see Wukong dashes in. I immediately get some crits on him and he has to back out. Gonna throw down my 3 aggressively because I think the Wukong is probably gonna have to go that way anyway in order to get out of here. Gotta use my beads to get myself out of this one. Gonna throw down my ulti as well on top of the Athena. And I've got the Khepri ult on me, so I'm just gonna be going super aggressive into them right there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and back up. This is exactly what we like. Those very
Patriot has fallen.
defensive supports paired with us. Khepri buys me an extra 5 seconds, which keeps me and our Phoenixes alive. Now I am looking for a Gooby right now. I gotta get that minion off of our Khepri. They are very low all over. Just gonna try to reach anybody. Persephone's here, so Persephone's gonna be my target. Good route from Khepri. Should allow us to grab that kill. Now I'm gonna go for the Wukong because I know he has no ulti and his dash is down. And then now I need to switch over and make my target priority this Anubis. Hit him with the slow. Gonna make it a little bit easier to land my autos. I've got Calder over on him. And we are officially into the late game as a hunter. And we have got the crit online. So you can see as the hunters get in the ultra late stages of the game, they become a lot scarier to deal with, particularly these hunters that don't do so well in the early because they don't have quite as much ability to live. Now I need to make sure that I back up and I go ahead and get myself that ornate arrow, which I'm already going to have quite a bit of cash on hand, which is fantastic. So I'm already going to be getting some of those stacks for the increased attack speed and the crit. Now I've got my Aegis and my beads ranked up. So on Hunter, when you go to get your 6th item, when you sell boots, traditionally you're just going to grab another crit item. Usually gonna be between the Shadow Steel Shuriken and the Poison Star. If they have a lot of healing and you need the anti-heal, go ahead and go Shadow Steel. Otherwise, grab yourself the Poison Star. It's gonna be nice, a little bit of peel for yourself. Gooby is gonna go ahead and be behind that Fire Giant. Once again, gonna be stealing that Fire Giant away from us. So once again, not properly set up with our zoners. Needed to make sure that our zoning characters were further up, keeping people away from the Fire Giant. In this case, we probably should have had Hercules and Dodgy out there zoning. Hunter late game with all this crit. There's no reason to have more than a couple people on the fire. So we could have had the Dodgy and the Hercules out there zoning, allowing me to get the Fire Giant while the Khepri goes ahead and tanks it. So I need to be right here in the back, just trying to get away. They're just gonna W key us down right now, so I'm just trying to get off to the side and get away from that Athena. I see the Wukong coming in hard behind me, but I know he doesn't have any movement abilities because he had just used his catch up to me and he had already used his ultimate as well. Just gonna call for the retreat, use my 3 right here to give that bonus movement speed and to get the heck out of Dodge. No, I've got no actives up, so I need to be way back. Luckily, their Anhur is not with them, so they don't have the easiest time just diving a Phoenix right now. They're probably going to have to play it a little bit further back. Maybe even just go for our tier 2 in left lane, which is going to give everybody time to respawn. Gonna grab my elixir of speed and a sentry ward. Not actually going to sell my boots yet for more crit. Keep in mind as well with the hunters in the late game, sometimes it's beneficial to not spend any money at all until you can get like your potion and the item and everything, because when you spend that money, you're going to be losing those stacks on your ornate arrow, which means you're actually losing attack speed and crit. So you do start to lose some value. So if I was like going into a late game team fight or something, and I was like, oh, I have enough money to get my elixir of speed, but then I won't be able to afford anything else, chances are you actually just don't want to buy it. Save the cash. That way you can have those bonus ornate stacks for the crit chance and the attack speed. A little counterintuitive to not spend your gold, but with the ornate era meta, that is just the way that it is.
Your left tower is under attack.
Now we need to be defending our left Phoenix. I'm going to get out a sentry ward over here. Good spot for hunters to be standing. Oftentimes you'll see hunters and mages standing over in this area, so you want to make sure that it is warded. Looks like Athena is going to be trying to ward right on through there as well. And now I'm just standing back, waiting for somebody to just get too aggressive and then burn them down with our crit chance. Of course, trying to save my 3 defensively if at all possible. Wukong uses his ultimate. I'm actually going to kind of move forward a little bit, because now the Wukong is really moving forward. I'll set out my ultimate on top of him, and we should be able to burn him down really fast. Unfortunately, a very good Persephone and Gooby ult. I mean, I'm going to have to use my beats and Aegis because I was stuck inside that Persephone ult while the Gooby ult was on top of me. But once again, we do defend our Phoenixes. And the Fire Giant is coming up soon.
Your left Phoenix.
It's actually a good opportunity to be looking for a quick pick. I don't know if Athena is the dream target. Luckily, she does actually miss her taunt. And if we could get some more people with me right now, this would be a fantastic opportunity to fight. I know that Athena has her dash down. Anders is going to get stuck on top of my ice. He uses his jump. The team gets to me, and now we can go over towards that Fire Giant. I should have enough time to back and then run on over, and now I can actually get myself that additional crit item and a red pot for some more damage. Gonna use my 3 to go ahead and help me get back over towards that Fire Giant. I'm actually gonna clear out this right side on my way over as well, because there's a lot of creeps that could actually get a decent bit of damage onto our Phoenix. So I'm gonna make sure that is cleared out. Hopefully we'll have Hercules and Dodgy zoning this time, or hear me out, let's just kill the Gooby. There you go. Kill the Gooby. Now we don't have to worry about him coming in. It's a way better play from our Hercules and our Dodgy right here. Gonna increase our chance of actually getting the Fire Giant a ton, and this time we are gonna get it. Very good on the fly. Changing right there. Gonna throw my ultimate over the wall at the Anhur. So he is gonna be stuck. Follow up. Now you can see the crits coming through. Unfortunately, I get the actual Persephone ult. She jumped right on top of me, but it's not quite gonna matter. Should be able to just auto attack this Athena to death, and you can see this late game crit and just how crazy it is. Just gonna call for attack middle lane. No reason to chase out that Skadi. Skadi, that Persephone. I'm Skadi. Who am I? Because we should be able to get a Phoenix and maybe even end the game. We've got 10 seconds till the Gooby respawns. I've got crit. We've got all 5 people. We've got enhanced fire. We should be able to run this one right on down. So you can see this game. Our major problem was those Fire Giant secures with the Gooby coming in and stealing it. We don't zone proper the first time. We don't zone proper the second time. Third time, Dodgy and Hercules work better together. They formulate a plan. They get to the Anubis while we're doing the Fire Giant. they kill the Anubis, they take away the person that's been stealing the fire giant, allowing us to secure it. As soon as we get the fire giant going our way, then we can end the game on our own terms, guys. And that is your Skadi ADC guide. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.